The Panthers, as it turns out, just an Andy Dalton away from being a house.
Jeez.
Blow out the Las Vegas Raiders as underdogs. Andy Dalton in this one, well over 300 yards, 3 touchdown passes. The first quarterback of the season to put up that stat line this year, 300-plus yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and the award winner of Matt Ryan's coveted quarterback of the week. What do we see here, Matt?
I mean, he played really well, and he was making, tight window throws. The seam that he hit Thielen on, I mean, that was an absolute strike, and really attacking the middle of the field. I mean, I thought he was really effective between the numbers. I had the stat yesterday. I should have had the stat prepared for you, but his completion percentage was up north of 75%, and he had over 165, 70 yards of passing just between the numbers. And I think that's an area of the field that he can help kind of attack in that space. And I think that comes with experience. We haven't seen him as a full-time starter in a handful of years, but I mean, this guy, he played really, really good football in Cincinnati for a long time, and he knows how to go out there and play. I thought he provided an energy and a spark for the team too. I thought they looked different. I thought they looked different on the defensive side of the ball, flying around, making plays. And so the numbers, like you said, over 300 yards, three touchdown passes, the first guy to do it this season, which is kind of an indictment on the passing in the first 3 weeks of the season. But, for him to do that is one thing, but for him to make the impact on the energy of that team, which I thought was noticeable when you watched the game yesterday. To me, it was an impressive performance. Now we got to see if they can stack that, right, and get back into the mix. What's crazy to me, guys, is the Panthers have the same record as the Niners, the Cowboys, and the Ravens. Who would have said that to start the year? And that's where we're at through 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, they can turn things around. They truly can, especially with the NFC South being as open as it is. But the interesting thing to me here, and this comes after, and it is 1 week, whatnot, but it comes after what Joe Flacco did last year down the stretch, leading the Browns to the playoffs, winning comeback player of the year. Veterans, seemingly league-wide, the guys who have been at this 8+ years, seem like the ones who know how to handle these two-shell defenses. Is there something to that? Do they
fear an old man at war, for it's a young man's sport? And when I get on an airplane, Matt, which I do a lot, sometimes you see these young hotshot pilots that just came out of the video. They were just playing the flight simulator when they were 16, and now they got a job. I want the old guy who's 70 that was flying in Vietnam, who's got a funny monologue at the beginning of the flight that gets everybody calm and relaxed, and you can see everybody has a better time, more enjoyment on the flight. When you got a young guy like Bryce Young and there's ghosts and their head's spinning, I'm kind of sweaty palms in first class up there as a passenger, but the rest of the team, you see him
first class
really
guy. You heard it, Mike. He's
first class or exit row, whichever one is available for me. But yeah, to your point, everybody on the roster feels like they have a chance. They take the Nerf bullets out of their magazine and they throw the live rounds in there, and you got Andy Dalton. Next thing you know, they're making plays on offense. They're scoring points. The defense is rallying. That's when complimentary football happens. It's all about belief, Matt.
Yeah. You want, what was the guy's name? Sully Sullinger?
Sully.
Who landed Sully. He landed that thing on the Hudson. That's what Kyle's looking for, right? He wants the guy who can land the plane when the comms are out. And so to me, that's what you have, though, in veteran quarterbacks. You talk about, the wealth of experience that Andy Dalton has, having seen so many different coverages, seen so many different blitzes. He's been hit so many times, right? And has made so many plays. He's got this database in his head of experience of knowing what to do. And I think the one thing you get with experience is you don't panic, right? You have this kind of demeanor that, no matter what happens, I'm going to grind through it. I'm going to get to the next play. I'm going to try and make good decisions over and over and over. And I think that's what you saw from Andy Dalton yesterday.
Speaking of a guy who finally looks like he has a database in his head to draw from, Justin Fields, 3-0 as a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. For my money, what he did this past weekend showed real growth from him in how he attacked this Chargers defense. And I know they haven't scored a ton of points, only 3 touchdowns through 3 games. But he's playing efficient football. He's not turning it over, not putting the ball in harm's way, and truly looks like he's taken a leap forward in his development as a quarterback. What have you seen from him, and do you think he's the starter once Russell Wilson's back healthy?
I think yesterday, solidified that. I think he played okay in the first 2 games, right? He did what he needed to do in order for their teams to win the game. And I think yesterday, particularly in the second half, I mean, he made some throws in the passing game over the middle of the field, particularly the touchdown pass, right? In that tight window in the middle of the field, and they kind of split it right out the back end. I thought it was really impressive. I think, even listening to him talk after the game, there's a growth and maturity. I think having gone through the experiences that he went through in Chicago, right? It hardens you. Sometimes the most important thing you can do as an athlete is struggle, right? Whether it's at the college level and you have to struggle to get on the field or work through it, or you have some ups and downs, right? And you come out on the other side of it and you're better off. Sometimes it happens in the NFL. And we've seen, guys like Sam Darnold, who we talked about earlier, but I think you're seeing it from Justin Fields in that, he's a little bit harder. He's a little bit more mentally tough, at least it appears to me from an outside perspective, and he's not letting the noise get to him. And then I also think, we go back to that complementary football, knowing that you have, that defense on the other side of the ball, knowing that you've got, a pass rush and a defense that can get home, right, and create problems and stop the run. It makes your life so much easier on the other side of the football. And I think Justin knows exactly what he has in that football team. And I think Arthur Smith, their offensive coordinator coming over from Atlanta last year, has done an excellent job with him.
Yeah, putting him in positions to do the things that he enjoys doing and does with great success. But to your point, the throws over the middle of the field, that's what you and Mike have been talking about. That was the vacuum in Chicago. There were no throws over the middle of the field. And it led guys like me, who are pig-headed and not quite as smart as you two, to say, this guy doesn't know how to play quarterback. He's a thrower and an athlete. Well, Mike Tomlin, Art Smith, these guys have figured out a way to get this guy on the same page with his receivers, be able to see the ball, to be able to see the voids in the defense in the middle of the field. It's been great growth. And, he's one of those guys that we wrote off and he never wrote back, Matt. So I'm happy for Justin Fields. I'm happy as a Bears fan that we got Caleb Williams. But at the end of the day, Justin Fields having success in Pittsburgh, it's almost like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see, too, the more success he has, throwing over the middle of the field comes down to trust, right? Timing, anticipation, and trust. Trust that guys are going to be in the right spots. And the more you have success, the more you fit a few of them in, the more confidence you have to let it rip over the middle of the field.
So Justin Fields, year 4, last question I got for you here. It took Geno Smith until, year 7 until he really locked down that starting job for the Seattle Seahawks. When did you feel like you reached kind of your peak of power in the NFL? When was it you felt like, I've seen it all at this point, I'm just kind of operating off of this, to use the word we mentioned earlier, database, and you're just humming throughout the NFL?
I felt like year 5, to be honest with you, was kind of the start, and then there was kind of a stretch that went after that. But, really year 1, swimming, and I was lucky. We had a good run game, a solid defense. I had good skill position players. I had a lot of pieces around me. Year 2, I thought I knew a little bit of what I were doing, maybe feeling myself a little bit, and then realized I didn't know, and then year 3, I started to get a little bit more comfortable. And then 3 and 4, I felt like I played well, but I feel like year 5, I hit a different level. And for the first time in my career, felt like I understood what I was looking at and how to attack certain coverages, understanding how to help my guys out up front, getting us into the right protections, getting us out of the wrong plays. Like, I really felt like that was when I started to play my best football, was in year 5.